Hi everyone, today I'm going to show you how to speed up your computer using an exceptionally useful program called TuneUp Utilities 2012. Now TuneUp Utilities is essentially an optimization suite that increases speed and stability and results in less errors on your Windows operating system in general. So I'm going to start off by showing you the new features in the 2012 version as opposed to the 2011 version. The first new feature is TuneUp Economy Mode, which is essentially the opposite of TuneUp Turbo Mode, where your computer's or laptop's power is reduced to as little as possible to increase your overall battery life. So this can be useful if you're on a long journey with your laptop, you can't charge it, this can increase that battery life as much as possible. The next new feature is an improved Start Center. The interface is much easier to use, but I'll show you that once we get the program installed. And finally, there's a TuneUp Utilities Settings Center that's been vastly improved with all the tools settings now in one place, easy to change. So without further ado, let's download the program. The link to this page is in the description box below. Once the program's finished installing, simply click it to run the file, and then click Run if any security warnings appear. I like to put a tick in the checkbox next to Custom Installation, and then click Next. After accepting the agreement, click I accept. You can then choose whether you want to install it on every user or just the user you're currently using, and you can optionally change the target folder. You can check these to your current preferences. I leave these on default. Once you've chosen your customized options, click the Install button. Then wait for the program to finish installing. You can then click Finish. This website will automatically appear. You can simply close that and then click Finish just here. You will then be prompted to enter your email address, which you don't have to do if you don't want to. If you don't want to, click the Skip button. Then this window will appear. Well, it will prompt you to start the one-click maintenance analysis. I much prefer to go to the Start menu and do this manually myself, which results in a better end result. So I click the X at the top and then start TuneUp Utilities Start Center. For those of you that use TuneUp Utilities 2011, you'll see that the interface is vastly improved. You've now got the extra economy mode in this list and you can very easily change between them. And there's a much clearer status bar on how much you've optimized and what there is still to optimize. There's now 4 columns instead of 3, the extra one being the system protection column, where you can very easily undo change that this program makes in case it causes any problem in that unlikely event. So the first thing I do when opening this program for the first time is click the Create Profile. You have to select your internet access method. There are websites online which can tell you your internet access speed and in some cases your method. So if you're not sure about that, find a website online to check your internet speed. And then you have to make your own decision for this one here. Do you prefer maximum performance or maximum visual appearance? Personally, I always choose maximum performance regardless of visual appearance, as you get presented with the possible optimizations that you can make use of, so you can choose to not make use of a given optimization if you don't want to. So by putting it on maximum performance, you get to see all the possible optimizations and then choose the ones that you want. So I would advise selecting this here. Finally, I don't like this feature and I always choose not at all, but if you'd like to turn this feature on, then you can choose how many days. Once you've done all that, click the OK button. It will then create your profile. Once it's finished, you can click Show Details. This window will then appear. First, go to the Hardware and Software tab, and you can go down this list and accept or hide any of the optimization recommendations that you want. So as you can see, the first one I've got here is to install Adabot Plus on Firefox. I'm not going to do this because I don't use Firefox very often and I like to support other websites and YouTubers because that's how many of them are funded. So I'm going to choose to not install this, or equally you could click Hide Recommendation and Hide Permanently. Next is Internet Settings, of which I have nothing to optimize because I've already optimized them manually, but you may have many things that you can optimize here. You simply left click on the optimization and then click the Accept Recommendation button. And on the visual effects finally, As you can see, there are much more recommendations that I can choose to make use of here. So wallpaper on the desktop, that is a very minimal increase in speed, so I'm going to hide that recommendation permanently so it doesn't appear again. Display contents while moving or resizing windows, again I still like to have that feature on despite me wanting maximum performance, so once again I'm going to hide that permanently. I always turn all shadows off, so I'm going to accept that recommendation. Once again, that's another shadow, I'm going to accept that recommendation as well, and this one. And smooth edges of screen fonts, that makes text much easier to read, so I always keep that on, so I'm going to hide it permanently. So you can just go down this list, choosing the ones you want for each tab, and then that should have a significant increase in your speed, but that's only the first thing that we can do. Next, go to the Optimize System tab in the main Start Center. The first thing that I use here is the Disable Programs feature. You'll then be given a dialog of how this works, and essentially there's lots of background services that are running on many people's computers which they actually don't need to be running all the time. So you can use this feature to deactivate them so your PC isn't slowed down by them, freeing up system resources, and they are re-enabled automatically if you decide to use that program. So you can click OK to dismiss that notification. Each of these bars represents the speed of the startup, general Windows running, and shutdown. So our aim is to reduce the load on these three processes by deactivating programs. So they categorize them in high load, medium load, and low load. And there's also this none, which means it's so little and impactless that it's not worth disabling those programs. So I'm just going to go down the list here. I need both of these programs on a regular basis, so I'm going to keep them on. I don't use iTunes that much, I'm sure most of you probably do though, but I'm going to disable that. I do use my printer quite a lot, so I'm going to keep that. And as you can see, when you left click on a given process, it shows how much you can reduce your load by. I'm going to disable these. I don't use much of Apple stuff. Don't use Real Player much. And that's about it, so I'm going to keep the rest on. As you can see, I've reduced system load of the startup, general Windows running and shutdown quite significantly just by disabling those programs, and that wasn't that many. Next, I disable unnecessary startup programs, and I would indeed turn on the ratings, which can be quite useful. Often when you install programs, they automatically schedule to start up when you turn on your computer, when in fact you don't need lots of these programs starting up when you turn on your computer, and instead you can have them turning on when you need them. Now TuneUp Utilities categorizes these into unnecessary startup programs with no clear recommendation, and necessary startup programs, which can be very useful. So I'm going to disable all of the unnecessary programs because they're not needed at startup. And the same can be said for most update schedulers such as the Java one and any others that you don't use. There's another online update program there, the Google update, and that's about it. So go down that list, deactivate the ones that you know you don't need. Next, I open the uninstall manager. Frankly, this isn't all that different to the built-in one in the Windows control panel, apart from this load and usefulness column, which can be quite useful. So essentially, go down this list and uninstall the programs that you don't need, so this just works like any other uninstaller. You can also organise in different ways, such as large programs, so you can see the programs that you'd like to remove because of their size. Okay, next I configure live optimization. Nothing really much to do here. All you have to do is click OK, and that's automatically going. Next I configure turbo mode. Click next, and this is your own preference really here. Just choose the ones that you know you don't want to use. I actually keep all of this on. I always use the classic window design. Even though I don't need to on my computer, I still like to have absolute maximum speed. I don't care about power consumption. Not very green. And I agree with all of this, yes, and I have it on permanently to also speed up, start up and shut down. So I do have all of those checked, but go through and see the ones that you want in case they're different preferences to my own. I'll also show you how to configure economy mode. Although this doesn't actually increase your speed, I am going to show you how to use it now. Essentially how I would use it if I was working on a laptop. I would either choose the maximum energy savings or the moderate energy savings. If you know that you really want to have a long time on this laptop because you're really limited, all you have to do is click maximum energy savings, and if you know you just want to make sure you have a little bit more power on that given day but still not much of a loss in performance, then I'd choose the moderate energy savings. So you just click it and it's as simple as that. Now when you want to activate economy or turbo mode, all you have to do is click the corresponding button under the subheading PC optimization mode. So I'm now going to click turbo. As you can see, it then says switching to turbo mode. It doesn't take too long. It may take a bit longer on yours because it's got to turn off more services if it's the first time you've been using it. So that's now activated. Okay, next I actually go to the gain disk space tab before I manually run the maintenance tasks. Make sure you drop down this box and choose all disks if you have more than one disk. Wait for it to search for the files. And when you see the number of files appear, you can then click delete unnecessary files, choose all of the ones you want. I choose all of them, click clean, does it very quickly, and it tells you how much space that corresponds to, which can be quite interesting. And then this one here, it may be worth your while keeping Windows Update backups for safety reasons. I actually do choose to delete them because I don't usually make use of the backups, but you may want to keep them, because for unexperienced users the backups can be quite helpful when you don't know how to fix a problem. There may also be an old backups checkbox that you can tick there, which you should indeed tick in my opinion. You can also disable Windows functions such as the hibernation file, Windows search index and Windows Messenger, so you can choose which ones of those you use. And there's also extra features here: find and delete a large amount of data and securely delete data. The find and delete large amounts of data is essentially allowing you to see what's taking lots of space on your disk, and then you can make an informed decision on whether you actually need that or not. And then the securely deleting data is if you want to delete data permanently, so it's very hard to recover. I'm now going to go back to the optimized system, and I'm going to start with remove broken shortcuts. I always do that because it's a nice quick fix. It'll quickly go through this, and it'll come up with any shortcuts that are no longer used, or start menu shortcuts, things like that. As you can see, there's just two shortcuts here. They're automatically checked for you. If you click clean up, they're automatically removed. Okay, next I click optimize system startup and shutdown. You have to just drop down this box and answer yes, soon, maybe, or no. I use either a pen or tablet as an input device. I do not. And neither do I use this computer to access a company network. If you answer no to these, it will then ask you to disable those unnecessary services. Under details, you can click accept the recommendations. I've already got those off because I did them manually previously, and that will take those services from running in the background, turn them off, reducing system load and increasing your system startup and shutdown. Next I run the registry cleaner just here. I would do a complete scan, so I'll just let that run now. Doesn't take too long. When it's finished, you can either choose to display the problems or clean up the problems immediately. I usually put a dot in this radio button and then click next, automatically clean them, and it may then ask you to check again if there are a lot of errors, because sometimes further errors appear on a second scan. For me that isn't the case because I do it quite regularly, but if it's the first time you've done it in a while, you may need to click the check again button, which will be just here. Then click finish and close the registry cleaner. Next I do the defragmentation of the registry, and this rewrites your Windows System Central Database, otherwise known as the registry, and removes structural errors and defects, essentially making the registry smaller so that your computer runs faster and error free. So click next to analyze the registry. You'll then get this dialog that appears. You have to click OK to accept it and for the analysis to begin. Now it's hard for me to record this bit because the computer doesn't respond and it will most likely glitch up my recorder, so I'm going to have to pause the recording here, but all it is a screen. It's a blue bar. Wait till it finishes. Your computer probably won't respond while it's doing it, so all you have to do is wait. When it has finished analysing your registry, it will either give you this message, which is telling you that the registry doesn't need to be optimised at this time, or it will say yes, your registry needs to be optimised, and you can click optimise at next restart or optimise at next startup. Once you've done that, you can click finish, blue bar, wait till it finishes. Your computer probably won't respond while it's doing it, so all you have to do is wait. When it has finished analysing your registry, it will either give you this message, which is telling you that the registry doesn't need to be optimised at this time, or it will say, yes, your registry needs to be optimised, and you can click optimise at next restart or optimise at next startup. Once you've done that, you can click finish, and then we can move on to defragmenting the hard disk. This is a great new feature in TuneUp Utilities 2012. It did have a TuneUp drive defrag in the 2011 version, but in the new 2012 version it tells you if you have a solid state drive. This is very important because solid state drives don't need to be defragmented, so it will not let me select my C drive, as you can see there. So that's a very good precaution that they put in place, so people don't get confused by the fact that they have an SSD. So you don't need to defragment an SSD drive, but you do need to defragment a normal hard disk drive. So I've got that one selected, wait for a result and then decide, click next, and it will then analyse it. As you can see, for me it says do not run defragmentation because it's only a tiny bit defragmented, 0.2%. However, you can choose to run a thorough defragmentation if that's the thing that it says it thinks you should do, or a fast defragmentation, or none at all. Now, after running all of the maintenance tasks manually, I like to run the one-click maintenance just once over for two reasons. The first, just to check that it has indeed got all of the errors and all of the cleanups done, and the second reason is to fill this blue bar in, because it's nice to have TuneUp tell you that you are now fully optimized. And plus, some of you may want to use this automatic one-click maintenance yourself, so I will show you how to use it. So if you go to the Status and Recommendations tab, and then click Start One-Click Maintenance, this window will appear and it automatically goes through all the maintenance tasks one by one. I do prefer to do it manually usually, because I can see what state my computer's in and make a given decision on what I want to do, but sometimes this can be a nice quick way of getting in and optimizing your system. However, if you haven't used this program before or you haven't used it in a long time, I do advise doing it manually because you will usually get much better results doing that. However, for weekly cleanups, this is probably fine. As you can see, for me it's told me there's no potential optimizations that have been found because I have run all of the tasks manually. However, if there are problems, you can very easily select the ones that you'd like to take action for and then click next or optimize. So that's how to use one-click maintenance. Something that I also change is to click every free usage days and then uncheck this checkbox, because I don't like it running automatically. I run the maintenance task when I want to speed up my computer. I don't want it doing it on its own. You may have different opinions. If that's the case, you can keep that checked and you can choose how long here by simply dropping down this box, but personally I like to run the task manually. So once you've chosen your options here, click apply followed by OK. There's also quite a useful fix problems column where if I click show details here, it said it's got 3 problems. It's saying user account control is turned off. That's something that I like, it annoys me and I'm an experienced enough user to not need it, so I'm going to hide that problem permanently, personally. And apparently a device is not working properly, so I'm going to open Device Manager and have a look to see if it's indeed telling the truth. You may need to go to View followed by Show Hidden Devices for the given thing to appear, and on normal drivers you can right click Update. So I'll just show you an example of a normal driver here. Right click Update Driver Software, but because this is non-plug and play drivers you can't update them, so that's in fact not a problem. So I'm going to hide that permanently. And it advises I should run the TuneUp Disk Doctor, which I will now do. I'm going to run it on my 2 local disks. I'll do a normal analysis for now. This doesn't take too long, so I'll just let this run. That took about a minute on my computer, and as you can see it says no errors found. So I'm now going to click finish and then close, and as you can see we now have that set to manual, optimized under the increased performance column, optimized under the fixed problems column, and I'll now explain what this last one does. and show you how to do it. If, for instance, something on your computer went wrong after using this program, in the unlikely event that that does happen, or something changed and you didn't like the change but you didn't realise that you wouldn't like it, you can click Undo Changes here, and each individual change that you made with each individual program can be very easily undone by left clicking your chosen one and then clicking the Restore button, and it will restore your computer to the point before you carried out that given process. There's also a system recovery where you can see your backups, and you can also create your own backup using this program. If you wanted to edit the settings in TuneUp Utilities 2012, that can be found at the top just here. As you can see, it has different tabs on the side which you can select for each given part of the program. So that's now very easy to use, and that is improved from TuneUp Utilities 2011. And the final tab that I haven't demonstrated to you, this won't speed up your computer, but it is quite a nice feature that you might want to have a look at. You can personalise the way your Windows operating system behaves and looks through this button and this button, and separate links here. I'll just give you a quick example. You can choose your best performance or best appearance here, or you can edit them manually for lots of different settings on here, like file types, folder options, the start menu. So you can have a look at those and have a look at some of the changes you can make to see if you prefer them. For instance, personalization wise for appearance, you could change the login screen to a custom image that you download. That's just an example. So you can have a look at the Customize Windows tab to see if there's anything that you're going to find useful. As you can see, we are now on 100% completed optimizations in TuneUp Utilities 2012, so we now know that using TuneUp Utilities, we've optimized our system to its full capacity, and it's now performing pretty much as fast as your computer can perform with its given hardware. I've had great experiences with this program myself. I haven't had any errors because of it. It hasn't caused any problems on any of my computers right back from TuneUp Utilities 2009 when I started using the program. Now, what I've been showing you today is the free trial of TuneUp Utilities 2012, and it's not a free program, but it is definitely a worthwhile investment because it's something you can have continuously running on your computer and constantly speeding up your computer, doing weekly scans to clean up your hard drive, your registry, etc. It's a perfect optimization suite for just keeping your computer running quickly. So to conclude, the links for the trial and to buy the software are in the description box below, and this is definitely a piece of software that I would recommend. I hope you found my review of TuneUp Utilities 2012 useful, and I hope it was able to speed up your computer. Thanks for watching.